Kunya Bihari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
He Janavala
Jai.
Rantara Shrimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Gaur Premanand.
Hari Bol.
All glories to Sangha.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Sangha.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Sangha.
Jai Shri Guru Guru.
Mirandasya Gyanagana Salakaya Sakshurum Viditam Janatasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Name. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prasthaya Nirvisesha Sundari Shri Chaitanya Manobhustam Savitam Janabhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadakadam Sukam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamaram Sri Guru Vaishnavam Sham Sri Rupam Sagrayatam Sahagana Raghunathanam Sahitam Sarvaitam Savaritam Parugana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahajananda Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Namaste Tata Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Nishabam Sri Manamani
Aditam Yo Krishna
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Gadadhara
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Which verse is all?
21 in the board, man.
Can't see. Yeah.
Take some blood.
If you may use more light.
Third.
What did we say? 21.
21.
Now let's see if I can see. So we're reading, okay, 9th Canto, Chapter 3, Text 21. Can you repeat? Katam Matis Te Bhagatam Yata Satam Kula Prasasute Kula Dushanam Tu Idam Vibhashi Jaram Jat Apatrapa Kulam Hitus Cha Partus Cha Nayasi Adas
Tamaha.
Try line by line. Katamata te bhagatam yatasatam.
Katamata se bhagatam yata satam.
Katamatiste bhagatam yatasatam.
Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam. Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam. Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam. Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha. Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha. Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam. Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam. Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam. Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha.
Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam.
Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam.
Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam.
Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam.
Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha.
Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha.
Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam.
Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam.
Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam.
Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam.
Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha.
Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha.
Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam.
Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam tvaidam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam.
Vibhasijaram yat adatrapakulam.
Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam.
Vitushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha.
Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha.
Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam.
Katamatiste bhagatam yata satam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam.
Kula prasute kula dushanam vidam.
Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam.
Vibhasijaram yatapatrapakulam.
Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha.
Itushabhatushchanayasya hastamaha. Katam. How? Mati.
Your consciousness.
Your consciousness. Vagata
Has gone down.
has gone down.
Anyata,
Anyata,
otherwise.
otherwise.
Satam,
Katam, of the most respectable,
Kula Prasute,
Kula Prasute,
O my daughter,
O my daughter,
born in the family,
born in the family,
Kula Dusanam,
Kula Dusanam,
who are the degradation of the family,
was the degradation of the family,
to
but
Idam,
Idam,
this,
this,
Vivarsi,
Vibhasi,
you are maintaining,
you're maintaining,
Yaram,
Jaram,
Paramur,
Paramur,
Yat,
Yat,
as it is,
as is,
Apatrapa,
Apatrapa,
without shame,
without shame,
Kulam,
Kulam,
the dynasty,
the dynasty,
Pitu,
Pitu,
of your father,
of your father,
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Batu,
Bhartu,
of your husband,
of your husband,
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Mayasi,
Layasi,
you are bringing down,
you're bringing down,
Adaha,
Adaha,
Adaha, Tamaha,
Adaha, Tamaha,
downward into darkness or hell.
downward into darkness or hell.
Translation. O my daughter, who were born in a respectable family, how have you degraded your consciousness in this way? How is it that you are shamelessly maintaining a paramour? Instead, you will thus degrade the dynasties of both your father and your husband to hellish life. Can you repeat? O my daughter,
O my daughter,
who were born in a respectable family,
who were born in a respectable family,
how have you degraded
how have you degraded
your consciousness in this way?
your consciousness in this way?
How is it that you are shamelessly maintaining a paramour?
How is it that you are shamelessly maintaining a paramour?
You will thus degrade
You will thus degrade
the dynasties of both your father and your husband
the dynasties of both your father and husband
to hellish life.
to hellish life.
Report. It is quite clear that according to Vedic culture, a woman who accepts a paramour or second husband in the presence of the husband she has married is certainly responsible for the degradation of her father's family and the family of her husband. The rules of Vedic culture in this regard are strictly observed in the respectable families of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas even today. Only the Sudras are degraded in this matter. For a woman of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya class to accept another husband in the presence of the husband she has married, or to file for divorce, or accept a boyfriend or paramour, is unacceptable in the Vedic culture. Therefore, King Satyavati, who did not know the real facts of Shaivana Muni's transformation, was surprised to see the behavior of his daughter. Okay, that was Om Ganati Mirandasya Ganagana Sarakya Sakshu Okay, the verse was Krishna. Katam matiste vagata yata satam kula prasuti kula dushanam tvidam vivarshti jadam yad apatrapa kulam pitushabatu shanayas yadas tamaha O my daughter, who were born in a respectable family, how have you degraded your consciousness in this way? How is it that you are shamelessly maintaining a paramour? You will thus degrade the dynasties of both your father and your husband to hellish life. Krishna. Prabhupada says in the purport that even today in the Brahmana families they maintain some standard, high standard. Because we have an example in the Bhagavatam, because that was not the woman, that was the husband who degraded himself. That was Ajamil. He was born in a Brahmin family, but his consciousness became polluted, and he fell deeply into, we can say, into Maya. He fell into Maya, but he was still saved. So maybe there's some hope for us. He, as we know the story, he just by seeing a prostitute and some man together, that activated something in him, a desire, and whether he ended up marrying that prostitute. I don't really know how he married a prostitute, but it said like that. And he had many kids. And he was very lucky because in his childhood he was trained up to chant Hare Krishna or mantras. So he called his last son, that you know well, Narayan. Nice name from the childhood. The parents were chanting. So then he's lying on his deathbed. He's not knowing. The Yamadutas are approaching. He gets scared like anything. Scary, Yamadutas. And then Then he calls out for Narayan, his son. His son, whose name Narayan. Narayan. He calls with real feeling. That is a challenge, to chant, to call with real feeling for the Lord. But maybe you need that kind of situation to really put your whole heart into the chanting. Hopefully we don't need to have that situation. But. Okay, so it's called for Narayan, please. In case he's thinking of his son, but he still is chanting the holy name of the Lord. And the Yamadutas are approaching, and they're as bad as you can imagine. Maybe, I don't know too much about modern times computer games. They create all kind of images and personalities or characters. So in any case, these terrible personalities jump out of the computer screen. That's maybe what happens when people die nowadays. If we would die in front of the computer screen with all these images. Okay, so then the Vishnu Dutas appear on the scene, the saving grace, and they say, "Stop! Don't go! Don't touch him!" And then these Yamadutas think, what's this? Who are these to stop us? Who are they to stop us? And the Vishnu Dutas were very beautiful, and the Yamadutas was very ugly, or not just ugly, scary. Because maybe someone is ugly but not scary, I don't know. So then they have to withdraw the Yamadutas in the presence of the Vishnu Dutas. And that just because he was chanting the holy name of the Lord, as being inspired from his childhood or youth, he has been doing. So, it was not a loss. His chanting in his youth, he became degraded, but it was not a loss. He hadn't lost anything, or he saved him. Of course, that is not the end of the story, because the full liberation or perfection of his existence didn't just come by chanting Narayan a few times and getting saved, having a near-death experience with Yamadutas and Vishnudutas. That was a near-death experience. He was near-death. He was actually meant to die. But then he kind of wakes up, and then he just says, okay, Hare Krishna. It's time to go. I'm meant to be dead now. I mean, in one sense, he was very lucky because he did wake up out of his illusion finally at the time. But then the stages that he, what did he do? He didn't stay home and watch TV. You see like that. So he left. What did he? He left home and went to an ashram. I think I remember seeing Haridwar. There was an ashram in Haridwar. He went there and practiced chanting and meditation for Narayan. And then he was so blessed that he actually, the Vishnu Dutas came again when he was ready for it, and picked him up and put him in an airplane, a spiritual airplane, and brought him out of the repetition, brought him out of the repetition of birth and death to enter into the spiritual world. So we can say, because he was chanting the holy name, so there's never a loss to chant Hare Krishna. It's not a waste of, maybe it's a waste of time if we are inattentive. But even if we're inattentive and we're chanting, still something hopefully goes on. And maybe one day we wonder, what am I doing? better get serious. I have to get serious. We have to get serious. I have to get serious. We are in the Hare Krishna movement. We have been blessed by chanting Hare Krishna for decades. Maybe let's see if Krishna or time is taking away enemy, as like my experience. It's not, I can't jump like before. And today the voice is unusually clear. Krishna is, what time is taking away. So then at one point, we just, okay, maybe someone meets us, hopefully, Srila Prabhupada or Krishna, Vishnu Dutas, Hare Krishna Dutas. Yes, come. Come and join our kirtan party here. There was, who knows what happens at that time. There was one devotee in Sweden, in Stockholm. It was he got this COVID-19 and was bad, and he actually died from it. But The interesting thing was that he had a son, we can say still he has that one, a son who is a priest in a Christian church. And this son don't like his father's engagement in the Hare Krishna movement. He cannot appreciate the Hare Krishna movement. But it happened so that he was present with his father when he left his body. When he left his body, let's see. And that was about midnight in the home of the father, and then the son, who was a priest, happened to be there. But then he for some reason, he had to tell the devotees afterwards that when his father left, he could hear a kirtan going on. That's what they say. He said, and why should he make up something? Why should he make up such a thing as a Christian priest? Okay. So who knows what happens? But we prepare as good as we can. And of course here, in this verse here, the concern here is for upkeeping the family tradition, if you say like that. The importance of family traditions. So we don't have so much family traditions nowadays. There is not so much in it. Of course, maybe the devotees can re-establish good family traditions by the chanting the holy name, so that our kids, there's all these kids, of course. There's been so many children who was in the Gurukul here at New Mayapur, and they are old now, and fully grown, more than grown up. And they're getting old also, in one sense. Okay, so that they can be an asset and help us to stay Krishna conscious and progress further in Krishna consciousness. And the funny thing is that it used to be that the parents complained that the children were devotees. Now we have situations wherein the kids complain that the parents are devotees. Terrible. My father's a Hare Krishna. They haven't, I suppose they haven't really internalized and accepted the Lord in the heart. So for them it's like awkward to have a father or mother maybe who chants Hare Krishna. That happens, but most of the time the parents are happy to see their children happy, or their children, they are children. We are sons and daughters of our parents. So many times, most of the time, I think they are happy. Or good parents can, whatever else they do, they can see that they're happy. That's nice. Please go on. So that is, we can say the blessing. Could we call a blessing from the parents, from the family. That's like, of course, we want the blessing of the spiritual master. Because you just get this blessing of the spiritual master, that's good. Now, and if your parents also bless you, well, what's the harm? That's an additional blessing or well-wish from your parents, from your seniors. So here is the father is very concerned, actually, about his daughter. because he thinks that she has degraded herself. Lower class, no class. We have one ashram with different class and groups. Then we have outcast. We can say sometimes we are like outcast class. But we are engaged in serving Krishna, so that's a good grace. Okay, so whatever blessing we can get, in one sense, we should get. If the parents can bless us, fine. The spiritual master, senior Vaishnavas, or whatever Vaishnava is saying, good done, well done, please go on. Then we are blessed, and it does something for us. And of course, we as devotees can also, maybe not bless our parents, but well, it's a blessing for the parents that the devotees are devotees. Blessing for the parents. Okay, yes, the parents get blessed. Okay, so here now the father here is concerned. Our family tradition is seriously in danger now. And that is also what he's concerned, because that makes a difference for the spiritual progress of the people in his family dynasty. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, in the first chapter, there Arjuna has this argument, what is this battle, what's the point, it's, there will be lone mothers and kids and whatever, this will be a big mess. And in one sense he was right. It became a mess in some ways. But this was a concern, or at least one concern that Arjuna presented, that the family traditions will be destroyed, and that is bad. In a way, and if I'm the cause of a family's family traditions to break, then what will happen? What karma will I get? What will be the situation? Okay, so of course Krishna, we may follow all kinds of rules and regulations and social and spiritual principles like that. But then the ultimate thing is to surrender to Krishna. When we tried everything, we're seriously trying to do things nicely, but at one point we just have to surrender to Krishna and take shelter of his lotus feet, take shelter of the spiritual master and grand spiritual master, and just try to surrender to Krishna. And then things may change, or there may be some hope. So here he is very concerned. My daughter has degraded like this. Because then it says here, therefore King Satyavati, who did not know the real facts of Shaivana Muni's transformation, was surprised to see the behavior of his daughter. So he just says that he was surprised here. But he was seriously concerned. And who did not know the real facts. That is a challenge if you're going to judge anything in any situation. It's like before you make a judgment, try to get the real facts, or as many facts as possible, as a basis for your decision or our decision in some matters. Okay. So he will be informed, and then his disgust or disappointment with his daughter will turn into a happy event, so to say, that his daughter actually has remained faithful to her husband, in spite of the husband being old and kind of crippled. She stayed faithful, and then the husband there is good. He kind of understood that it wasn't so fun for his wife to have such an old husband. So he arranged that he was transformed. Maybe he didn't really care about bother so much for his own sake, but for the sake of his wife. Yeah, then the Ashwini Kumars come and help him, so he regained youth, beauty, and whatever health. And then actually, so this kind of things happens in the Bhagavatam. It doesn't happen nowadays. Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. So let us chant seriously, get reformed and informed, and continue in our spiritual life. And let's see how our life story ends. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Okay. Well, then I end here for today. Well, someone else will speak tomorrow. I will leave tomorrow. And then, in any case, it's interesting, nice to see your temple with the devotees. And some things are happening here. Prabhu North says, okay, so something is happening, it's confirmed. And when I say something happening, I mean something positive is happening. And there's, you can say some hope, there's hope. If there's a will, there's a way. And but it's not just sitting down building, it's also a challenge to actually get the right ingredients together to make a nice combination, healthy kitchery. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaudamananda. Let's see, how do I get out of this?